Hello, everybody, and welcome to another cup of self-empowerment to trust, heal, and be thyself. I have a very, very special guest with us today, a dear friend of mine, Katie Steinle, and I'm so excited for you to be here, Katie. It's just such a pleasure. And we must laugh because we were laughing about the name because, I was giving you a new name completely because Katie is also known as Katie O'Brien Steinle, and, I just called her Katie O'Steinle. So, this is Katie, my dear, dear friend Katie. And for those of you who don't know Katie, Katie uses human design to reveal your genetic energetic blueprint to remind you of your soul's journey and who you came here to be. She's here to help you tap into your greatest strengths, know where your energy is being hijacked, and unlock your unconscious mind so you can start co-creating your best life. Katie has 20 years of energetic mastery experience. She combines human design, quantum biofeedback, and the ancient martial arts of Qigong to calibrate and realign your energy with your true purpose. She will teach you powerful new ways to stay resilient and adaptable in these ever-changing times and maintain a state of creativity and flow. So welcome, Katie. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this from the minute it popped into your brain. I love what you're doing and what you're putting out in the world. And I love that we are all having an opportunity to share our stories.
Yes, I love this too. And it's just wonderful to have you here. So let's get started. Katie, how did you start to trust thyself on your journey?
Well, I have a very intense journey. I actually, was plugging along, knew I, really enjoyed the, spiritual side of life and, really just taking courses and opening up on that level, not realizing the whole time it was preparing me for the loss of my son. As you know, I lost my beloved 18-year-old son, Parker, 2 years ago, and my world just came to a halt. Everything stopped. I questioned everything. I even questioned whether I wanted to continue to live myself, with the level of heartbreak. And so, for me, it's been this intense journey of like literally rebuilding myself, one day, one moment, one breath at a time, and making that choice, in every moment. Do I want to keep going? Yes. Okay. What do I do? Oh, you just one foot in front of the other, one breath at a time, like patting yourself on the back for all the little simple things in the moments, in the simple everyday moments, right? Sometimes just getting out of bed, guys, is a big deal, and then you get out of bed one day and the next day you don't feel like getting out of bed, but you trust you got out of bed the day before. You trust if you put one foot in front of the other, you will be able to move, you will be able to, function, you will be able to, regain your strength. And so for me, learning to trust myself has just been an extremely visceral experience of taking all that I, was preparing myself for, all of that awareness and that connection that I had established, not realizing it was meant to be part of my, soul's journey and what I would end up pulling from, to when I couldn't stand on my own, to rely on the strength of that greater connection to something bigger than just me. And that can be God, source, whatever you believe in spiritually. It can also be just finding your tribe, right? Finding your community, like not all of us have a huge extended family that's close by. The times are different now, like people are scattered. And so, that there were just so many days where, I wouldn't have made it throughout the day if somebody had just looked at me across the room and gave me a smile, or, just all these little things that you do without consciously even being aware of it. And you don't always realize the impact they make on somebody else's journey, on somebody else's day, how just, a couple words, a cup of a tea, a cup of self-empowerment, like
Yeah,
we're doing today. People everywhere, will lose somebody at some point and connect with my story and your story. And so us just holding this space, that we're all in this together, and trusting that you are never alone. I just can't stress that enough, because I think we've all been so isolated these
yeah,
last few years that's a real thing. People now look down on their phones more than they look up, right? And so
unfortunately,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
moments of connection. That's what we need to get back to. That's what is really going to lift us up and create that space for our self-empowerment.
Yeah, totally. And thank you so much for being so raw and honest with us, because, this is a difficult topic for, it's still very, very, very fresh. And for any parent, no one
Mm.
ever expects to lose their own child before themselves, especially, at such a young age of 18 years old. So for you to continue to have that faith, that trust that, okay, something such, I just can't even put into words how awful it is, that you can still get out of that bed every day, put that one foot against in front of the other, and that small smile or that small gesture that someone of kindness gives to you, you know I think a lot of people, even if it's not to do with loss of a person, but who are suffering from anxiety or anything which is traumatic, which has happened in their life, really, we all have to be so conscious of just the tiniest gesture that we do in kindness, act of kindness that we do to each other, that really, as you said, it just empowers someone. You don't know what's going on in their world. And, you know,
Sure.
thank you for sharing that. Really, really,
Absolutely.
really, I really appreciate that. So obviously, you started trusting, and you could have taken it the other way and actually lost complete amount of trust and everything, but you still, you hung on to that trust, which is incredible, completely. So this trust obviously has led you on a path of healing thyself. So how did you start healing thyself during this process, of the loss of your son Parker?
Thank you. Yeah, so for me, I was already in the process of getting internationally certified in human design,
Yeah.
which is a synthesis of a lot of esoteric, the major esoteric wisdoms around the world,
Mhm.
with quantum physics and genetics. And so it's kind of like astrology, but on steroids, And so I was able, for me, I have a very logical process. We were just joking before we hopped on about we both have our Virgo moons. And
Oh yeah.
so, we work everything out, even our emotions, in a very logical way. And so for me to be able to have that as a tool in my life, to really be able to see it laid out in a very just, detached, logical way, that this was truly a part of my journey. And, people can tell you on some level, well, you signed up for your lessons, right? Like this is something on some level you agreed to go through. But like when you're going through the lowest of the lows, you're like, ain't no way I signed up for this. Like, I don't know what
Yeah,
I was thinking,
exactly.
forget it. But when I
Exactly.
could see it laid out, it kind of helped me, like start to format the pieces, and, see that, that maybe this was a process, not a gift. I mean, it is a gift, but I'm still getting there,
It's a
but
gift that you can converse with him, that you know how to connect with him, but obviously it's extremely traumatic. And if you had the choice, I'm sure hands down you would say, I want my Parker back.
oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm like, there
exactly.
are a million ways I could
Yeah,
learn the lessons
exactly. Exactly. So
that the
it's
lesson that I
hard.
was
Yeah.
supposed to learn was, because I am I'm wired, like I said, when I really look through the lens of human design and I see my purpose, my life's work, my reason for being, it really is that bridge of spiritual connection to the other side. And so Parker was that ultimate, that movement of spirit to matter, and then also witnessing and holding the space for him to return matter to spirit,
Oh,
and being
wow.
able to be that bridge, and now realize and strengthen that connection because he's even said, Mom, I can connect and communicate with you so much better in the space that I'm in versus, in my human body. And so learning that new language, right? And holding space and holding the observer mind of just witnessing life and holding space for seeing the signs. He says, I send you signs every day.
Oh,
just in your eyes, and they are there. And
oh,
let me tell you guys, like, we all think we're walking around like wide awake, right? We see everything, but 90% of what we intake in a day, what our nervous systems are taking in from our biofield around us, is unconscious to us. So think about that, like how little we are actually consciously aware of. So when you just start to like open your mind, open your awareness, you asked me how I healed myself. Like I said, human design was a big part of it. And I started to work with frequency, because like Einstein said, we are all energetic beings. Everything holds a frequency, and it's that simple law of, they say the law of attraction, but it's when you can start to hold the frequency of what you want to attract in your life, like attracts like electromagnetically. So you literally, if you want to, like for me, all I want is peace, right? So I have to start seeing peace, finding peace in the day, finding hope, which are the little signs that Parker's giving me in the day. And then the more that you do that, the more you start to emit that vibration. And that's when they talk about co-creating your reality. And so I got into biofeedback.
Oh, that's
And
awesome. Oh, it's just amazing. I love it. I just love it so much. Yeah.
It healed me. You guys, the stuff works. It shifts your frequency. It shifts you on like a DNA level. And Kelly and I laugh because, Kelly and I, she works with the biofeedback every week, actually.
Your groups, yeah.
And I do it every day. And, I'm not just saying this to like, hey, check out my website. But if you guys want, I have 3 free, playlist of the different biofeedback frequencies on my website. It's just katiesteinle.com. Go there, download them. You guys, this stuff is like, it saved my life.
It is medicine for the soul. It talks to your soul completely, and it really can shift stuff.
In all the right ways.
Oh yeah. And it's beautiful. It's just beautiful to listen to as well. So
it's like chimes. Again, it's all subliminal. You don't even really hear the frequencies, unless you, after a while, you get attuned to where you can kind of pick it up. But yeah, it's what we were just saying. We were talking a few minutes before the show, catching up, and we were talking about how I think nervous systems are so fried, you guys. We are at max capacity with all the stuff that has been coming at us the last 2 years. And so the more we can simplify the tools, the things that we are taking in. Remember, most of what we're taking in, we're not even consciously aware of. So be aware of your environment. Be aware of the people.
We're sponging a lot of stuff in without even realizing. If you think, you just could be standing in the queue in the grocery store or something like that. It's just got to be. It's kind of like that self-care to yourself. We've just got to become more aware of our own selves and be respectful of everyone around us too, and just understand that we're all walking our own path, and even if we're not on the same path, it doesn't mean someone's path is better than ours. They're just doing what's right for them, and we all have our obstacles, we all have our hurdles, we all have rainbows too. It's not at all linear, so
ain't it?
not at all. And what is just so wonderful is that what I just really admire in you, Katie, is the fact that, with everything which has been thrown at you, with you having to lose your son, is that you've still been able to have that trust and that faith and that continuality to continue to go deeper on healing yourself and healing those around you, and just, sharing your gifts with the world so that, others who experience the same trauma can actually benefit is not the greatest word, but, you know,
Heal.
yeah,
Yeah.
they can heal that and, you know, make something out of a very unfortunate situation. And as you said, you know, the communication what Parker has with you now, you said it's, you know, it's on a completely different level, and that in its own is just so incredibly special. So yeah, it's a lot to digest, especially, you know, it's just, you know, for someone who's not had to go through this is just, I have utter respect for the fact that you're sitting here and you're sharing this with us. And yeah, no,
Thank you.
really, it's huge. And no, seriously, because I'm sure there are people out there who have had similar experiences. It doesn't always have to be a child. It could be someone very close to you. And, you know, maybe this is the little, you know, breadcrumb that you need to feel, to feed, be fed. So, you know, okay, there is hope at the end of the day. You know, it may not bring that person in the physical form back to us, but it's teaching us a whole lot of stuff. And even better if we have that ability, in which we all do, to connect. And and then you learn how to have that connection. You know, that's very, 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 very precious. So thank you so much for sharing that. So obviously you've had all this massiveness going on. You've had to really, you know, put everything into trust in this. You know, you've had to really walk a path of healing, you know, a lot of deep wounding in yourself, and, you know, it's probably on many different levels. But now you're standing here today in all your sovereignty and standing tall and sharing this with us. And I just want to ask you, how did you manage to do this? How can you just be so, yeah, I'm here, this is how it is. You know, you've accepted and you're moving forward with it with such grace. And I'm sure it's not easy. You're doing it with ease, but I'm sure, you know, sometimes it's a real battle.
Thank you. Thank you. Because grace has been the biggest word in my life these last 2 years. And I literally have, I stare at it every day. I have a little quote from Eckhart Tolle, and it says, acceptance of the unacceptable is the greatest source of grace in this world.
Wow,
And when you really start to
powerful.
dig into grace, like I was like, grace, that's one of those words that can mean so many different things, you know, like what does that mean? But when you really lean into grace, it truly is forgiveness. And what that's, you know, saying is, you know, learn to forgive even the unforgivable, because, you know, it's that quote that says, you know, when you hold anger and you hold, you know, the dark emotions in your body, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Well, it's
You know,
helping
I
you
mean,
sink down lower and lower, isn't it? It's weighing you down, which is going to make you feel even more heavier in yourself, and it's going to bring you down even more.
and if you don't deal with it, we all know, you know, our biofield has layers. And if you don't deal with the emotions, that's when it manifests itself as physical disease.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm not by any means, you know, trying to be up here and be like, hey, no big deal, just pull, you know, get up out of bed and get going. Cause yeah, call me and we'll talk. You know, it's a daily battle still, but it's just that, you know, I've studied Chinese medicine for years, and it's that balance of the yin and the yang, and it's finding the beauty in the tragedy. None of us are getting out of here alive, you know, and all of us will experience, you know, tragedies in our life. But I think that's the big, you know, piece is instead of getting stuck in that and being paralyzed, you know, and frozen. I found this interesting. I didn't even realize this until like a year and a half after my experience, but nurse had told me that when we go through extreme trauma, our nervous systems literally can get stuck in that sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight. Well, it's
Oh,
basically fight, flight, or frozen, you know,
yeah.
like a deer in the headlights.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
got stuck in the frozen. And so you don't realize it. Again, it's that simplicity, you know, of, wait a minute, am I breathing? Wait, I'm not even taking a breath. Like I'm literally like this, you know, and then it's like, okay, Katie, just take a breath, you know, and then you can kind of start to expand your awareness to like, okay, wait, what's going on? Am I safe in this moment? Am I safe in this moment? Yes. Okay, you know what I mean? And you just expand out from there. And just I can't stress enough. It's those little things that just get you through. And I so appreciate you having me on today, because I want to find purpose in the tragedy, in that helps me make sense of things. Like, I want my mission now,
Yeah,
my son left and I went through this huge shift, and what is really important, I got down to what matters.
yeah.
How is my life meaningful? What do I want to leave behind? And I just walked away from my corporate job, and I made healing and bringing awareness to others of why they're here. That is my mission now. So
Beautiful, beautiful. It's so
I
neat.
yeah, I love having the opportunity. I just appreciate this so much.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. This is just a must. It really is. And, as I said, you're touching so many people's hearts, and everything, as you say, there is purpose behind everything. As crazy as in a messed up way of thinking, it's just, there is sometimes literally no words to put it in, and it's something, it's just being there, showing up. And you've crafted, because you've had to go through this yourself, you've crafted all these tools to be able to move from survival stations to thriving stations. So you actually, like, you're thriving and thinking, okay, this is what I'm here to do. Okay, I've had to go through this trauma. I've had to lose, like, one of the
Everything,
most important people in my life.
everything.
And
Yeah.
that is to actually, continue. That is so much courage and so much strength, what you have to pull out of yourself again. You have to really dive deep to get that out, because it's just incomprehensible how you can, yeah,
And that's what you have to tap
yeah.
into, I think, a higher power,
Exactly.
because
Otherwise, you're not going to understand, because if you're doing it from the normal rational mind, there is no logic there. But when you can tap in, like we both tap into the Akash, and with your human design, and with the biofeedback and everything, and with the Chinese medicine that you're using as well, you're just using all your tools together to actually find harmony in the disharmony,
yes, I love
and
that.
to actually give these waves, this ripple effect on the people around you, and share that with them as well. And that's just wonderful. Which, would lead to my question, was how would you like to encourage and support others on their journey, to trust and heal and be thyself? How can you personally help people? What tips would you like to give them?
Thank you. Yes, because I think it's so important. I study energy. I study, all of the ways you can tap into the universal energies that are here to support us, just like the breath that we take in, right? That keeps us alive, right? The rhythms of the universe. And that leads to a level of self-empowerment, which is why I just love what you're putting out so much.
Thank
Because when
you.
we look at clearly, I think everybody can acknowledge, we are shifting globally in a huge way, and have been since 2020.
Oh yeah.
But when you look, there is a logical reason for all of this happening, and it's kind of like the background frequency shifts every so many years. You have kind of like a major shift in the dial of life, of the universal web. And in 2020 we started shifting into this new dynamic. And so you will find over the next 5 years, as we get closer to 2025, 2030, we are shifting into a background frequency that is moving from a time of tribalness and community and structures to individuality, the age of Aquarius, all of these things are upon us, to self-empowerment and not relying on something outside of you to
Exactly.
fix
We have everything within ourselves. It's just remembering. And sometimes we actually just need someone to give us that hand, walk that
Yes.
little path with us for a little bit, remind us, hey, you can do this. I can remind you how to do this because you have it within you. And then afterwards, you know, as you say, the collaboration in the community to help each other, but also to reflect and mirror back what we all, each and every
Yes.
one of us has in us. And, you know, to know that you're not alone, and to know that there's always someone who is there who will understand you. There's going to be people who don't understand you, and that's okay. They're going to have other people who they need to connect to. You know, everyone's going to find and flow into the who they're going to be with. It's I believe in that, you know, with all my heart. And, you know, to be able to connect with people like yourself who have walked this path, who have gone through similar experiences. You know, sometimes we just need that person as a, you know, to hold us for a while, to give us that embrace and say, I've got you, and I feel you, I understand you, I'm with you, okay? You're not on your own. And then when you get to that stage where you start, you know, realize, I mean, come on, you know yourself, you've had to really anchor everything back into yourself to continue each and every day. And without community, that would have not been possible, I'm sure.
It would not have.
Yeah.
And I just want to stress, like, everybody, just if you remember one thing, you know, remember that your power lies in your difference. That's the energy that we are moving into. It's okay to be yourself, your unique self. There's a reason we all came here different, you know, with different strengths and different gifts. And when you do find your tribe, that you let go of like that competition or like that insecurity of, wait, I don't fit in. I need to fit in. I need to belong. Like, everybody in your group sees you. They see you, you know, and they honor
see and
you.
they love and accept you exactly just the way you are, you know. It's just like, it's something in a Bridget Jones film when she's like, oh, that, I don't know, she said, you know, he loves me exactly the way I am, or something like that. And it's just literally that every time I think of that, I think of that quote in the film, because it's literally, yes.
Feeling ever when somebody
Yeah,
sees you. Yeah.
exactly. You don't need to, you know, to be someone else. You're here to be you. And sometimes we just need someone to help us rediscover that self-confidence, rediscover that self-trust. And the minute, you know, I'm a strong believer, we can all tap into divine magic. We can all, you know, we can all do this. I really, we can all trust, we can all heal, we can all be authentically ourselves. And, you know, we all have that ability to tap into that self-empowerment. And yeah, come on, just look at Katie and what she's, you know, gone through, and how she's sitting here today sharing a very, very difficult experience with us all. And she's still smiling, you know, every day. Okay, there's going to be days, there's going to be, maybe in one day you're going through every single emotion.
I never quite know,
Yeah,
but I've learned to ride the emotions, right? And that's where the self-mastery does start to come in. You know, it's not, you know, if there's something wrong in your life, then you need to look at resistance, you know, like how you're not meant to be doing that thing. You know, life is meant to flow, even in the darkest, most tragic of times.
yeah.
It's that surrender and that acceptance to just, you know, being like that river, you know, and just
Flow with
letting
the
it go
water.
where it
Yeah.
takes you. Yeah, you and I know that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we do. Oh, well, thank you so much. This has been so beautiful, and it's very deep, I feel, as well. And, you know, if anyone wants to reach out to you, what is the best way to get in touch with you, Katie?
Oh, thank you. My website is just katiesteinle.com. I am on Patreon. My business is called Discover Your Design. So you can find like the celestial circles that Kelly's in, we do those once a month, just again, bringing in an intimate setting, you know, like-minded people together, and we laugh, we cry, we learn, you know, we
Yeah, we
support.
get a little bit of getting a bit of teaching of human design as well, which I must admit,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
it's very, very fascinating. But
You talk about self-empowerment. I
Yeah.
tell you, yeah, human design it really helps you ground completely in, okay, this is what my energy is here to do, and this is how it's here to navigate. And
And it's
it kind of,
really interesting because you actually, when you're going through your chart, which I would have never even thought, but then you actually see yourself in your chart and you're understanding why you do that. And if it's something that you like thinking that really annoys me, but you understand why you're doing it, and then it gives you that opportunity to say, okay, now I know why I'm doing that. Now I can work out how I can not annoy myself by doing that. It is
yeah,
really, it's
it's the
fascinating.
ultimate self-empowerment tool, right? Because you just accept yourself. And again, you realize that your power really is in these little quirks and things that make you unique, and other people notice that you just take for granted. That's just how
Yeah.
you are. So yeah, Patreon, YouTube, I'm on those as Discover Your Design, and Instagram is Discover Your Human Design. And yeah, I would love to have people, come see me for a human design session and
Oh
just get
yeah.
clear. I loved what you said, because my name is Discover Your Design, and you said rediscover what did you say? I just love that. I got to write that down. You said, rediscover your purpose and rediscover your,
Rediscover
truth.
your self-confidence, your self-trust. Just rediscover who you're meant to be. Yeah, it just, because it's there, it's within us. We've just forgotten it.
Exactly.
We've forgotten it. We've been like switched off from it because we've been
Well, you
sidetracked.
go to school and then your parents are telling you to do it the way that they
Yeah,
did it. And then your friends are, of course, like it's only natural, because we have been conditioned to try to fit in. But I think you're going to see a shift. I know you're going to see a shift because, like I said, once the background frequency changes, like it influences us. Again, it's subconscious, and we don't even realize it's happening.
yeah.
But when you can tune in to shows like yours, Kelly, you're just
Oh,
one step ahead of the game, because you're allowing people to see the different ways that they can start to build that self-empowerment,
thank you. Thank
strength,
you.
internal
Because,
strength.
we've always, I know myself, I would have never expected, to be on the path that I am as well. And to be sit here and, having these
Totally.
self-empowerment interviews over a cup of tea. It's just like, okay, if you told me that like last year, I would have been
Years
like,
ago,
silly.
you would have been like, me too, I know. And yet here
And
we
that's what,
are.
we're all equal. We can all do this. We can all, and just by, for example, anyone who's watching this, if you just show up, you have no idea how many people you're inspiring, how many people you're actually encouraging to see themselves with with the eyes that you see them with, with that love and just
Be
wonder.
the change that you want to see in the world. Like that has been my mantra lately.
Yeah.
Like you said, just show up and be kind, because that's what
Kindness is
we
everything.
need that right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just give somebody a smile, be loved, because
Yeah.
you feel alone and isolated, and we need that, so that we stop looking down and we start looking up. That's where I was visiting Italy one time, and I ran into, just how you meet people just random moments
Oh
at a
yeah.
bus stop, right?
Yeah.
And they just said two sentences, and it just stuck with me my whole life. They said, look up, that's where you find the beauty. And that's
Oh,
so true,
it is true. It is true. It is true. You can be having the most miserable day and it sounds corny. Yeah, I'm going to give it, it does sound corny, always look on the brighter side of life. It sounds corny and we don't always want to hear it. But sometimes really, to actually see the beauty, and it could just be hearing the birds sing. It could just literally be spotting something on your drive to work, which you're like, oh my God, the colors in the sky, don't they look amazing today, or something like that. And just it helps you crack yourself open again. It helps to open that heart again. It helps you to bring yourself, as you talked about the yin and the yang energies, it all just somehow connects to each other.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do recommend everybody who's really curious to hear about what this biofeedback sounds like, do check it out on Katie's website, because I think you're going to be very, very pleasantly surprised. So, why not? It's not going to It's only going to cost you a few minutes of time, and it's a great investment of self-love and self-care at the same time.
I agree.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much, Katie, and thank you for all watching today. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. And I'm sure Katie will be back again with us soon, too. And until then, much love to you all, and take care, and bye-bye.
Bye.